but he is in fact an East Coaster. He's not a Texan.
No, that was that populist BS.
Absolutely. He was.
Drop the G.
He was actually literally born and raised.
He went to Andover. He went to Harvard. Yeah.
Yale.
Didn't he go to Harvard Business School? Yeah.
No, Yale Business School.
Yale.
He has an MBA from Yale. So, but he literally managed to convince all of us that he was a country bumpkin. Period. Without ever saying it.
Especially convincing the country bumpkins.
Yes. His conduct, his pronunciations, his concepts were all reflective of Sarah Palin's boyfriend.
Maybe Bristol Palin's boyfriend, Levi.
Except that George W. Bush wasn't shooting wolves from helicopters.
Well, she hasn't done it. She just okayed it.
But his company, he was in charge of it, though. Her husband was in charge of it somehow.
Don't you love
he
Chris?
was part of it. The tour?
Yes. Don't you love Chris Rock's comments?
No.
Chris Rock said, "I don't understand what our values are in this nation." He said, "The governor of Alaska can shoot deer and moose."
Yeah, this was on Letterman. Yeah.
Yeah. From a helicopter, and becomes the vice presidential nominee. And Michael Vick has a dogfight, and he's in jail.
Yeah, Michael Vick sitting sitting there in jail, going, "Why am I here?" Everybody's upset. I shot a dog. She shot a moose.
Yeah.
So you think Palin is setting herself up for 2012?
She is the future of the Republican Party. Literally.
The right-wing religious Republican Party.
But she has the potential of being a U.S. Senator from the state of Alaska now that Ted Stevens has been convicted. He's been convicted of 12 felonies. And I would guess that at some point the ethical standards of the Senate are going to be imposed, whether he wins or loses. Of course, it'll all be academic. If the Democratic nominee running against him next week wins, and that person was the mayor of, I think, of one of the largest cities. Anchorage. He was the mayor of one of the largest cities in Alaska. He's a good Democrat, a talented guy, and now that you have the problem with reference to the conviction, if he wins, but there are only 640,000 people in the whole state of Alaska, and
as many in the confines of this little 7x7 city.
Right. And half of them, I think, are people who think they see Russia from their
windows.
I can see the moon from my backyard. Yeah. I'm a spaceman.
Well, I'm surprised, Will, that you still think that McCain will win. But here's the Roanoke College poll from Virginia that shows that Senator Barack Obama leads Senator John McCain by a 48 to 39% margin.
In Virginia.
In Virginia, with 11% undecided. This was just released today.
Well, I got to tell you a number that's even more dramatic, and that is the percentage of people who are doing early voting. And when they have exited the polls, they've identified themselves 2-to-1 as Obama
2-to-1
persons. 2-to-1. And the numbers of people going, for an example, in the state of Virginia, in the state of Georgia, I think 32% or so of the people have already voted.
I don't understand.
That's unbelievable.
I don't understand the early voting numbers. I don't. Doesn't that just cannibalize what you're going to see on Election Day?
It removes any doubt about what you're going to see on Election Day. If 50% of the people who vote, who are to vote, have voted early voting, and if that number, is anywhere close to the total number of people that voted 4 years ago,
yes.
You know that the people who are on the Obama team are going to be the beneficiaries.
Well, McCain is still going to try something. I mean, there's a whole week left. He could throw out one of those ads, like Lyndon Johnson did. Lyndon Johnson, a week before the election, when he first became a congressman in Texas, started a rumor that the other guy had intercourse with sheep. That was the rumor that he set out. And Lyndon Johnson said, but I can't say that. We don't know if that's true. And his campaign manager said, let the other guy deny it. Make the other guy deny it. Well, yeah.
But have been making.
So I think something like that is going to happen. And yeah, the socialist thing, that's actually starting to get a little traction because you can see the Obama people are on the defense about it, about the share the wealth thing that he said in the speech in 2001. So I'm thinking of the other things that they can do. They can convince all first-time voters that they have to go to the polls on Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
You mean they could run a campaign of depressing the turnout?
Yes.
And that has been a reality in some occasions. There was a guy named Ed, what is his last name? He's a commentary now, Ed Rollins on television.
Oh, yeah, Huckabee's campaign manager.
Correct. He was accused of having the responsibility to suppress the vote in New Jersey about 2 or 3 campaigns ago. And they actually did an investigation. And it turns out that he was walking around, apparently, spending a lot of money vis-a-vis the election in all black Democratic neighborhoods. And they found that unusual for a Republican, but they couldn't apparently find any brother who had told him, who would say that they told us the election was next week, not this week. But we did get the money.
Well, that's part of the reason people are voting earlier. Now, Obama is leading McCain in polls in Florida as well, and in 5 of the 8 battleground states at this point. And the last week of the campaign is bound to be where all the dirt that's remaining gets kicked up. But they've tried to stick the weather underground as something that is current when Obama was 8 years old, with the guy that he serves on the committee with.
Bill Ayers.
Bill Ayers. William Ayers is, I don't think, an issue to most people.
Well, but Paul, they didn't do a good job because it is a reality that about 4 or 5 years ago, in an interview, and at the time that he was serving on a board with Obama, he did reaffirm his commitment, and he was sorry that they didn't succeed with the bombings that they did. That's what Ayers said. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans stupidly didn't go to that as the basis for their criticism of Obama, rather than to the 1968 Ayers. If they had gone to the
2001. He said that right after 9/11.
Right.
He said, "I'm sorry we didn't bomb more."
That's right. And
as part of the Weathermen.
And they were serving on the board of this nonprofit together at that time. And so if they had gone there, then Obama would have had to separate himself from Ayers on the currency basis, not use the oddity of I was 8 years old. He was more than 8 when that was said.
But sitting on a board and palling around with terrorists are, I think, maybe 2 different things.
Totally and completely 2 different things. But I'm telling you, as a politician, I would not want to have to answer why I am, at this stage of the game, not willing to join you in condemning someone who would say that I'm sorry we didn't complete the bombing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this a lead that Obama has now, whether it proves to be real or illusory? But he's gotten the lead through hard work. Now, is it because McCain has run such an awful campaign, or Obama has run such a good campaign?
It's because the economy has gone in the toilet. Has nothing to do with either one of their campaigns.
Really?
Yes. When the
So 800
economy
points a
started
week
to-
before the election, that doesn't help? People's
No.
401, people's 101Ks are now a 162K. It's a little better.
Now, Obama was no better than 3 or 4 points ahead when
Before
the
this,
economy
yeah.
went dramatically into the tank. When Lehman's went under, when the government announced they're going to save AIG, etc., and McCain panicked, and in his panic demonstrated that he's not necessarily fit for the real challenge. Obama, who probably had no answers, as is the case with almost everybody with the economy, simply shut up. And McCain ran around, I'm suspending my campaign, I'm going to Washington to fix it, and he ran off to Washington, you should join me. And Obama, of course, mentally went off to Hawaii or some other place. At least he didn't say anything. By the time the dust cleared, everybody thought Mr. McCain was an absolute jerk, in that the balanced, calm, responsive nature, as described by the subsequent endorsement of Colin Powell reflected itself in Obama. In fact, Obama had no answer, and he just shut up, and he benefited from it.